two. I'll stop talking. Yo, 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 it's your boy Sincere. Of course, another week of Sincerely Speaking. And of course, we have the Queen.
Hi.
All right, and our special guest this week is a young man by the name of BJ Bradford.
What's happening?
All right, so, excuse me. Of course, as I said before, and as folks should have seen prior, we're going to be talking about the sexual allegations and basically kind of going through a breakdown of what makes up these sexual allegations, a lot of different things regarding rape, and I'll just do a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about. I'm probably going to butcher the name again, Aziz. We're going to discuss Aziz.
Aziz Ansari.
There you go. Aziz Ansari. We're going to talk about his story. If you don't know anything about it, Queen, you said you're going to post that in our, she's going to post that in the notes. So you can actually read about what actually happened with him recently with these sexual allegations. But we're going to basically talk about, ask the question, what is rape? We're going to break down what the definition states and then kind of go over our thoughts in regard to what's rape, what is sexual harassment, what is sexual assault, what is consent, and then we're kind of going to ask another question in regards to would you be willing to offer or sign a written/verbal consent in regards to sex, just to protect oneself, especially more so for the men. So first off, we'll go ahead and appreciate everybody that's going to be watching, tuning in, whether you're live with us or you catch it later. This is a very sensitive topic, so don't get mad about our opinions on things. This is just our opinion. Everybody has one, so don't take it to heart. We're not mean people. But so we'll go ahead and kind of start off with the discussing Aziz Ansari. Or I said that wrong again. Aziz Ansari. I'm sorry. There you go. Keep messing it up. But go ahead, Queen. You can take it away and give a kind of a brief rundown about his situation before we start into everything else.
Well, the brief synopsis of the story, and I'll post the link in the comments because it's really long, and you may stop along the way after reading. But pretty much, there was a young lady. She was a photographer. I think she said they met somewhere at some celebrity gathering, but they gathered a connection because they had the same old school camera. So they exchanged numbers. Per the article, they exchanged flirtatious banter during a week or two after they met at this event. They went on a date, out to eat. They end up going back to his house. God, there's so many details with this story, but ultimately she left and said during the time that they were there, she felt uncomfortable. She felt like his pursuit for sex was very forceful. She left in tears. Oh God, it's so much. But initially when they went on the dates, he rushed her through dinner. She was barely able to finish her food. They were barely able to finish their food. And then they walked 2 blocks to his home. She commented his countertop. He told her to jump up there. He began to perform oral sex. She returned the favor. He said, I'm going to go get a condom. She was like, wait, just slow down. Let's just chill. And throughout the night, he just began to get really aggressive, if you will, with his effort in trying to have sex. But they exchanged some things. He, fingered her. Didn't stop.
Her mouth.
It was a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, all of that.
In her mouth to moisten his fingers and then suck it inside of her. It was a lot of going back and forth. She said that she assumed that he understood that she was uncomfortable. So there was a few times where she would say, okay, let's just slow down. And then they would stop. And then they would move to another part of the house. And and then it was okay, let's start again. Like he was aggressive. She says that he was very aggressive and he made her feel uncomfortable. She ended the night in tears. And she put him on blast. She put him on blast ultimately, saying that he acted like an 18-year-old asshole who had never had sex before. And like I said, she put him on blast. She's kind of hurt his career, if you will, because she's putting him out here as a sexual predator. In the article, she doesn't use the term rape. She just pretty much put him on blast. I won't go into my opinions about the story, but that's pretty much the synopsis of it. They really didn't get to the sex part. It was a lot of toying around, and she kept saying she felt uncomfortable. I'm not exactly sure how long this lasted, but it was a lot of, okay, let's stop, let's slow down, let's go sit on the couch and watch a movie, and then he would make more advances. And pretty much just being chased. You know, this date night from hell is how she puts it out there, pretty much. But the article is very long. Again, I'll post it in the comments, and that's it for me. Go ahead, Terrence.
Well, I mean, you know, from I'm not sure. BJ, did you read up on that at all?
I did. I read it.
I mean, actually, you know what? I'll be a gracious host, and I'm gonna let you go next. I'm not gonna go second. I'll go ahead and let you go. Get your input on what your thoughts was in regards to it and what you read, and then I'll go last, and then we can jump into everything else there.
Okay, so she gave her a synopsis, and it's fairly accurate. What I would like to point out is there are several times in this story in which he very clearly verbally articulates what he wants to happen. She doesn't ever say that he forced some things to happen. He says first what he wants to happen. And generally speaking, other than her saying, let's chill, she would comply. Like, if and when he said, I'd like some oral sex, she obliged him. As a male, I'm 33 years old. So as a male, my whole life, I've been told to ask permission when it comes to things like that. I'm not supposed to make the assumption that that's okay. In Aziz's case, he's done what we've been taught since we were kids. Hey, I want you to do this. If at that point you then perform that action, what else is he supposed to do? Now, I'm not saying that he was a reasonable adult male and he wasn't ridiculously pushy, because he was. I wouldn't have done a third of the stuff that he did, the whole chasing from room to room thing. But if she keeps complying when he's making requests, I can't really get behind her when she said she was assaulted if she was volunteering parts of her body at his request. I just can't get behind it. Had she said that he forcefully did anything, I'm 2,000% behind the young lady, but that's not what happened. By her own words.
All right. My thoughts on it, I mean, y'all both already kind of touched on it, a lot of the different things that took place. In my opinion, if the biggest thing I took from it when she mentioned from when they were leaving from the date, she felt rushed from the date. She felt that there was a red flag. And my first thoughts, because of course this is a serious situation, but of course I kind of joke about everything, but I was thinking why she didn't follow her women's intuition, as y'all claim that y'all have, and she went to the brother's house. And then another thing too, and I know some females will say when it comes to these type of situations, why do people try to put fault on the person that didn't really do anything wrong, or so on and so forth? And I feel like she put herself in a bad situation from the beginning. Once you decide to go to a stranger's home, because they don't know each other, alone, after an expensive dinner, because she did keep talking about how expensive the dinner was, and for whatever reason she had pictures of what was left on the table, which I thought was pretty odd. But the fact that you went back to his place, you felt rushed and felt it was kind of weird, and then you went back to his place, and as BJ stated, he kept letting her know what he wanted to do. the fact that she performed oral sex, I believe, what was it, twice on the guy at two different locations. Um, I just feel like if you were so uncomfortable, number one, you should have left before any of that went down. I don't know anybody that allows somebody to go down on them and they're uncomfortable and it's not basically forceful. I know when Queen had posted this on her page, it was a young lady that mentioned, I think one or two that mentioned she was coerced into doing it. And I mean, that definitely isn't the case because he didn't force her to do anything. I know it mentioned about her feeling pressure, but he asked if she did it. I mean, granted, she did it more than once. If you're that uncomfortable, you know where the door is. She never stated he was holding you there or any of that. I think it was just kind of weird about the situation. I don't know. Of course, we don't know the full story, but these were her words. And I kind of feel from my personal investigating of looking at things, I feel like something might have went down to where she possibly felt that it didn't go the route that she wanted it to go and possibly going into a relationship or something, which some females, I'm not saying this is what she did, but some females, when it comes down to it, things are going in the way that they want it to go. So the next thing they do is to try to hurt the individual because now they feel like a one night stand or a booty call and they were expecting more. I just say this to young women, for women, period. I mean, if you plan to try to be something more, going to somebody's crib the same night or that quick is not always going to be a plus on your side. Some men might still date you afterward if you plan to go back and do whatever you do, but make smarter decisions, in my opinion. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the actual question. So, what is rape? So, by definition, Queen, I'll let you go ahead and read what the actual definition for rape is, and then we'll kind of just go into things afterwards.
Okay, let me get it. Well, according to dictionary.com, rape is an unlawful sexual intercourse or any other sexual penetration of the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person with or without force by a sex organ, other body part, or foreign object without the consent of the victim. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead and speak on it.
But yeah, the post that I had made, it was a completely another question, and we'll get to that later. But my issue, and it is a very, very, very serious issue, and I don't want to dismiss it or act like it's not. I know of women that have actually been raped. Their choice, their decision making has been compromised. Their choice to actually make a move to do anything has been compromised. And just by the definition alone, it is by force. And if your choice, your will has not been removed when you are interacting with someone sexually, we have to be very careful, especially as women. We have to be very careful with the term rape or sexual assault or sexual harassment. That's the thing that's more so frustrating to me at this point because the word is just thrown around so loosely. I don't know what's going on, but this whole issue with the Me Too movement and just this whole who run the world girls thing is just really getting out of hand. And we need to really specify and be very, very, very specific and detailed with what rape is, what sexual assault is, and what sexual harassment is, because at this point, and like I said, for me, I'm really concerned because I have a son and I don't want my son, and I have conversations with him about this because I don't ever want my son to be compromised in a situation where there is no winning in this. If a female wants to come back later and say, you know what, that sex was whack. I was raped, or my mom found out I was raped, or whatever the case may be. We really need to be okay and be honest with our dialogue, because this whole victim blaming thing is only because people don't want to be accountable and people don't want to be honest when we have that conversation, this open dialogue as we're doing right now about sex and what consent is and rape and all this other stuff. I'm off my high horse right now, but I got a whole lot of stuff to say.
All right, so before we jump in too much, had a couple comments. Nothing about what we discussed, but we got a few shout outs. Clearly, this one's for you, BJ. Timothy Washington Sr. said, "Nephew, what up?"
What up, Count Chocula? How you doing?
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, don't worry about how me and my people do. Okay, we special. Let us relate how we gonna relate.
My bad.
Then of course, the queen, your sister, of course, always here.
Always here. That's right.
Oh, ain't this the pot calling the kettle black?
I'm sorry.
That's all with support, though. We appreciate you always watching the coaches. We appreciate you.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But all right, BJ. So you can give your thoughts on rape and whatnot, definition, and your own personal definition.
Okay, so my definition is pretty much in line with the Queen's, but what I'm more so concerned about is having reasonable limitations for the things that are allowed when we're talking about this comment. So there's an unending amount of leeway given to victims, potential victims, possible victims, whatever, but that same leeway isn't given on the opposite side of this equation. So much so that we're literally talking about people that had careers for 40, 50 plus years that said something inappropriate that are now losing their livelihood without so much as someone really asking, did this happen? So if you can condemn me to an eternity of you're a rapist by making a statement, one, how do we verify this has happened? Two, if you are a victim, put them under the jail. And three, if you are a liar, what is the process by which you now have consequences? Because in our current environment, that does not exist. There's not a, nah, she was a liar. This is what's going to happen to you. We just talked about that the lady who said Emmett Till whistled at her just decided she was going to tell the truth. No one is outraged outside of she lied. It's not you lived a whole life and ruined someone else's, cost someone something. Granted, it ended up having a better turnout due to its unfortunate circumstances. But this lady just went her whole life like, yeah, I made it up. And that's the end of the story. It shouldn't be the end of the story. People shouldn't be losing their lives and their livelihood and the way that they feed their families based on an accusation. If that were the case, if I called a female, she's a hoe. If I make that statement and it ruins your life, there are generally speaking for females, I'm suing you for libel. But nobody ever thinks that you can sue someone for libel that accused you of doing something that you didn't do, given these circumstances. It just ain't right.
Definitely feel that. Before I even start, since wifey popped on and everybody else was getting shout outs, I guess she wanted to give me one. So so she said, let me say hey to my boo then. LOL. What's up, boo?
Oh, that's so cute.
But my thoughts, of course, the race definitely was my son. He'll keep running to the door. Gotta love it. But my thoughts in regards to the definition of rape, I mean, it's spot on. And I agree with everything BJ stated, us both being the males and something that could easily happen to us more so than women. A woman can easily say, hey, I didn't appreciate the fact that you didn't love on me like I wanted you to love on me, so I'm going to say you raped me. And the unfortunate thing with what women have over men is that you can just cry wolf all the time. And nobody's really trying to verify. I mean, they went in on Bill Cosby, and of course, all the women came out afterwards. But you know, a lot of these other people, they're not really going as hard to find the evidence and verify that these things are actually taking place, and people's lives are getting ruined. And as you can, like BJ said, it could be a thing where it could have never truly happened, but that allegation is more so for the celebrities. You know, it can ruin their life for the rest of their life. And then you got some young men. I mean, my son's young now, but you know, that's something I worry about when he gets older. And I would have that conversation with him when it comes to these things. You know, some girls, young women, and women will lie because of the emotions. And at the time, they may not be thinking about how those emotions and what their lives will do to somebody's life. But the unfortunate thing is I have not really seen anywhere where it's been posted that there's been any kind of repercussion for what they've done to these people's lives. I mean, it's crazy and it's sickening because of the type of world we live in where you can just lie about something because you were hurt to ruin somebody else to get back at somebody, and you can either cost them their life or, you know, literally, or you can send them to jail or whatever the case may be. And everybody can't make it in jail. I mean, I don't want to go to jail to try to find out either, but I'm just saying. But, you know, it's a serious topic, but in my opinion, it's a serious topic on both ends, not just on the women that are being raped or the accusations, but for the men as well that are being accused falsely in regards to a lot of different things that they're accused of, and then how their lives are ruined and what can they do afterwards. So, no comments yet. Go ahead.
I'd like to go back to the Bill Cosby portion. So yeah. The Bill Cosby situation speaks directly to the perceptional differences between men and women. So we all call Bill Cosby the rapist at this point. Whether he did anything or didn't, we've all officially accepted that he's a rapist. But that's not the portion that I want to focus on. The portion that I want to focus on is the fact that he openly said, yeah, I gave them Quaaludes, not I put it in their drink and they didn't know. They openly said, he gave me these drugs. I took these drugs. He took these drugs. We did this stuff. And retroactively, it's a problem. Ironically, there are some real good business situations happening there. You got Bill Cosby over here, a woman he wants to have sex with that wants a great college education. They do what they do. He pays for school. She disappears into the night. Some other chick, she finds out later that something else happened with other people. Yeah, me too. No, sweetie, you rented out your vagina for a college education. Nobody wants to say that.
Wow.
I mean, nobody wants to say that, but it's the truth, though. If I went and found a sugar mama and I needed a car, and her only requirement of me is 3 times a week I come over and we get it in, I'm renting out my penis for a vehicle. That's just the fact of the matter. Now, there are people who get taken advantage of and they need to be taken seriously. But in that situation, Bill Cosby's not a rapist. I have a need and I also have means. You have a need and you have means. They made a business arrangement. He held up his end of the arrangement. You don't get to come back later and say you've been taken advantage of after you've been paid for your service. You rented out your vagina for a college education.
Well, now the thing about that, though, of course, they state that if a person is under the influence, it's considered rape because they technically did not give consent. I won't go dive into that too much. Hey, yeah. I won't dive into it too much because we will talk about consent a little later on, but that's another huge issue with being under the influence. But again, it's looked at for the male being the rapist, even though both might be under the influence and they both consented to, you know, sloppy, drunken sex. But if she calls rape afterwards, you know, who's getting in trouble? He most likely will be, which is unfortunate because we both participated.
I mean, that is very true. And in this particular case, when we talk about rape and sexual assault and all this other stuff, the men are usually disadvantaged most of the time, disadvantaged. And we can do that as women. And I'm not saying it's right, But we do. And like you said, nobody calls us out. We automatically assume that that woman is a victim. If I were to say right now that some random man that I slept with 6 years ago raped me, people would automatically feel sorry for me. They will attach that to me and say, she said that she was raped, and nobody's going to ask any questions. They're automatically going to victimize me and demonize and ridicule the man that I'm accusing. And that part is not right. Like I said, instantly, I don't know anybody who can read this story and say, oh my God, this is devastating. She was raped. There has to be some sort of accountability on your part as a woman. And I'm speaking as a woman. If, like, I've heard so much crap, especially on that post, and I'm not going to even go there, but I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care if I come to the door butt naked. You don't have the right, and that is true. Nobody has the right to force you or to invade your space or any of that. But nobody wants to ask the question, why are you coming to the door butt naked? And the answer is not, it don't matter, because it does matter. Because we, a lot of the times, can walk right into a situation that we know could compromise us, could put us in a compromising situation. And not to say that anybody deserves to be raped or sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, or any of that. But in this particular story with Aziz Ansari, she went out on a date, and there were so many red flags there where during the time that I was reading the article, I was just like, get out! Like, get out! You got to go.
Thought it was a movie, huh? Yelling at the screen.
That's what I'm like, why there? And again, you cannot, I'm sorry, I didn't feel sorry. It was a bad date. The story only, she wanted to tell her side of a story that really detailed a bad date. And you can't, the buyer's remorse. You can't, after the fact, say, you know, well, it was bad, and I'm going to tell everybody about it. Maybe she wanted to beat him to telling it. I don't know. But nobody was forced in that particular situation. And it's so messed up because this man's career, his reputation was jeopardized. It was diminished, really, because of a story that you want to tell where everything in that story, just reading it, it's like, he didn't stop you. He didn't block you. I don't care how uncomfortable you want to say that you are. If you are uncomfortable, you make adjustments to become comfortable. You don't sit there and continue to interact. And then I even had someone say, well, just because she did it doesn't mean that that's consent. That's ridiculous as hell. We are grown as hell. And if anybody is forcing you and you feel like you're being harmed or any of that, I understand. But if that is not the case and you walk your ass into a situation that you can walk your ass out of and you choose not to, there is no victim blaming there. That is holding somebody accountable for their actions. We are grown as hell. If somebody is telling you, I'm going to blow your brains out if you leave, I get it. If that is not the situation where they are telling you the door is there, you have the freedom to walk out the door just like you walked in here. You cannot scream rape after you walk out that door. It may have been uncomfortable. He may have been aggressive because some men just don't, you don't know. But I'm personally offended by that you can sit here and paint this whole picture of a person being demonic after you perform oral sex, after you've let this man stick his finger in and out of your mouth and your vagina and do a ton of things, and then you go and cry victim. That wolf stuff is not going to work for everybody, because once people see that, now it looks like a come up. It looks like a come up. That's it.
I'm going to say this real quick. So I know we got quite a few people watching. I saw BJ, you responded to Thelonious's response. I was going to respond to it. Yeah, you can't call in, unfortunately. But please comment if you have any comments or anything that you want to say about what we're discussing, the different topics that we're discussing. You can comment. Of course, I'll post it up here. Hopefully your Facebook picture looks good, because it's going to pop up on the screen for everybody to see along with your comment. If it don't look good, go ahead and switch it and then comment. But yeah, give us some comments, some feedback on your thoughts. We definitely welcome that. In the future, hopefully, I'll be able to do video comments, but we gotta play around and figure that one out, how easy that might go through. So, I think we probably killed the whole what is rape portion of it, so we can move on to what is sexual harassment, which is the next question.
I'm reading the definition again according to the.
Yeah, you can go ahead and hit us with it. Actually, before you go, Thelonious, our actual discussion point. I mean, we're basically discussing all of the sexual allegations that have been happening. We're not talking about every single one, but just kind of going through and discussing the different aspects of it. You know, people stating that they were raped, talking about sexual harassment, sexual assault, basically, and then going into what is consent. So that's basically what we're kind of discussing right now. But right now, of course, like I said, the next thing we're going to bring up was sexual harassment, and discussing that right now is where we're going to be. Just to get your heads up. Go ahead, Queen. You got the stage.
Thank
Your
you.
turn.
So, according to dictionary.com, sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances made by an employer or superior, especially when compliance is made a condition of continued employment or advancement. That's it for me. Who wants to talk about this particular part? I guess, okay, I'm going to ask a question for you guys, for any men, period. And you can decline to disclose the information.
I plead the fifth.
I just want to know seriously, like, have either one of you or any man that's watching, and in most cases we know that men won't report it or go and, tell any superiors or any of that, but have you ever had a sexual harassment issue in the workplace?
Oh, please let me have it. Please let me have it. Listen. Listen. Old ladies are the dirtiest people on earth. On earth, bar none. And it's because it's so uncommon for a man to really respond to sexual harassment negatively, there's a lot of freedom given to females in general, specifically old ladies, because it doesn't matter what an old lady says to you. If you've been raised in most households, you just kind of let them do whatever they're going to do. But women are exponentially worse than men, in my opinion, when it comes to sexual harassment. They may not touch you, but I guarantee you the words and phrases that come out of women's mouths in response to an attractive man are tantamount to the very worst that men can come up. We're not even creative enough as a group to come up with some of the stuff that y'all will say about an attractive man.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, you're not defending the ladies right now. I just want to put that out there.
I'm not. I can't. I just can't. That's true. That's true. I'm in agreement. I'm gonna agree with you there.
Thank you.
And so you said your question. You wanted to know.
Yeah. Have you ever had that experience in the workplace? I mean, I know you probably
all
did.
the time.
And that's what I guess that's my point. Like, we don't get ridiculed for that. We can see a man and even squeeze his ass at work, and it's like, that's it, and he just goes on about his life. He may say, stop playing, so you get it, or whatever. But it's never handled in the same manner that it would be handled if it were a woman. But it only depends on, and it's messed up, if he's attractive, he's flirting. If he's unattractive,
it's harassment. All right, now, okay, DJ. So Thelonious said he thinks you're expanding your definition.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and deal with that. So if you feel as though I'm expanding my definition, first off, we have to establish that it's subjective. It's sexual harassment. You don't get to choose what my definition of sexual harassment is, nor do they get to choose what my sexual harassment. It doesn't work that way. You don't get to be on the outside and be like, that's not sexual harassment. If I tell a woman who's got a nice outfit on today, hey, you look nice, and she feel like I'm in it in the dirty fashion, it's automatically sexual harassment. Also, I didn't give details as to what these dirty old ladies would say. But if I were to give those details about what those dirty old ladies would say, you know, like, ooh, if I was just 25 years younger, I would just turn you all types of ways. Like, I can't make those statements to anyone else. I can't do that. I can't do that as a man to anyone.
Oh, dang. All right, hold on. So she said, look at the EEOC definition. I guess I have to pull that one up on Google and see.
Oh, that was specific for me, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll look it up, Thelonious. Give me a second.
Okay. I mean, when it comes to sexual harassment, have I ever experienced anything? You said work related?
Yeah, in the workplace. Have you ever felt like, I mean, have you ever had that experience? Has a woman or, you know,
me being a man, I mean, I'm kind of like what BJ said. I don't really look at it like that. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff said to me similar to what he stated. That wasn't necessarily, it hasn't always been necessarily work related, but, you know, I've heard, you know, the comments of, you might say something and then women might say something slick, you know, in response to it that has a sexual undertone to it. But, you know, it's one of those, you just kind of laugh it off type of deal because I know how things are and I'm not trying to get in any trouble, you know, and if I play that game and respond how I may want to maybe respond, you know, how I may have wanted to respond at that time. Let me clarify that so I ain't getting in no trouble here. At those times in the past when I've run into those situations, you know, you have to really kind of watch how you respond to somebody. And I know Thelonious is stating not just the fact that someone is flirting. And it could also, I mean, when it comes to flirting, that's, in my opinion, a touchy subject because, as Queen stated, if a man, and I'm going to show it, but if a man is saying something to a female and she's attracted to him, she may not get upset about it. But then when that other dude, you know, comes along and he's saying the exact same thing, you know, oh, this is harassment. And it's tough for guys, you know, because maybe that dude that you think is ugly, he don't really ugly. I mean, clearly look at Jay-Z. He said ain't no such thing as an ugly millionaire.
That's because he ugly.
You know? but everybody else thinks he's ugly, you know? So, I mean, they can be coming to you with all the confidence in the world and that's not be attracted to that female, and she can say, oh, I feel like this is sexual harassment to what he's saying. And and I mean it's a thin line when it comes to those things because you really got to watch what you say, how you say things, how you conduct yourself around females in general, because of the fact of what kind of trouble you can get yourself into if they're not attracted to you, or if, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, a lot of times if a person is pretty cool with you, they'll deal with a lot of different things. And in my opinion, a lot of those women might take the guys roll with things. I will just kind of let things roll off our back. Okay, they cool people. I don't care. We can joke around like that, but let it be somebody else. It's sexual harassment. And I feel like if it's sexual harassment with one person, it should be all across the board and not who you pick and choose who it should be. Mm-hmm. That's just my thought.
Yeah, but we get away with that though. We do take advantage of the fact that we live in a very sensitive environment and everything is like pro woman, where, you know, whether it be child support, whatever, all that. But in the workplace, like you just said, if it's going to be inappropriate, it's going to be inappropriate across the board. And any man should be very careful about what he says, because especially now, like BJ said, if you just say good morning, you look nice today, you can end up in the boss's office because you complimented someone. So even if it's something as small as a good morning, you look nice, and keep it moving, no physical contact, no none of that, it can be misconstrued as something else. And you definitely want to be careful when it comes to what you say, how you say it, how close you are to somebody, because like I said, women, we do that. We take advantage of that. If he's cute, he's flirting. If he's unattractive, and I'm not saying that's my point of view, but like BJ said, it's subjective. It's completely subjective. I think because you're cute, we can call this flirting. But if you the buck tooth dude in the mailroom,
why you gotta be buck tooth?
And why you gotta work in the mailroom?
I'm gonna tell that this is a sexual harassment case. So you definitely have to be very careful in the workplace. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. I don't care where it's going, whether he's cute or whether he's not. It shouldn't be going down.
Okay, so speaking of the workplace, Thelonious told me he wanted me to go check out the EEOC definition, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So sexual harassment by definition from the EEOC is unlawful. It's unlawful to harass a person, an applicant or employee because of that person's sex. Harassment could include sexual harassment or unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature. Harassment does not have to be of a sexual nature, however, and can include offensive remarks about a person's sex. For example, it is illegal to harass a woman by making offensive comments about women in general. So I'm not sure how that varies from the definition that we came up with before, since it's sexual comments and sexual advances. Me personally, it does not bother me. I think nothing of it. It's either I'm receptive or I'm not. If they're flirting, but the fact that there's that wiggle room in there kind of makes it difficult or makes it a lot more dangerous for whoever's in the situations, because it's up for interpretation. There will never be a definition in which every line and block is going to be covered. It's not going to happen. It's going to be, how do you feel about it? Cool. How do you feel about it? And then we're going to have to apply the reasonable person rule when it goes forward. But it's not going to stop the accusation of sexual harassment. It just won't.
All right, so I'm gonna hit these comments real quick. I don't know why, Nicosia, yours didn't come through on my side for me to show what you commented, but she said, I think if you are touching me sexually and I don't want you touching me, ugly or not, is sexual harassment. That's probably more so sexual assault, because now they touching you. But I could be wrong.
I think the difference is just it's the workplace, the sexual harassment. To my understanding, it's in the workplace. If there's a superior,
Okay.
hey, you can keep your job if you go ahead and jiggle my balls, or
is that what they say?
Let's move it on a quid pro quo, but yeah, it qualifies. You know, Jesus, ball jiggling? That's where we going? You were outraged when I said that young lady rented out her vagina, but you jumped to ball jiggling.
All right, so also my big brother, Blackout, he asked if we can hear his TV. No, we can't, of course. But he also stated the rules are made up as they come along in regards to sexual harassment. And it seems like this thing is running behind, because I see it popping up on here, but I didn't get the other comment that you had on here. But he did also say booty runs the world, which is, I mean, basically that's true.
Shut up.
Hey.
Who is he, Fleece Johnson? Ain't nothing more valuable than booty. He likes you and he wants you.
Oh my God.
I get it though. Definitely get it. Hey.
Y'all said, wait, before we go on, because I know we may run out of time, but I really, I don't know how many men or women we have on the post, but the consent question is far. Can we kind of
just jump to it? I mean, that's fine. We can skip the sexual assault, because I mean, basically sexual assault is, I mean, that's kind of a clear definition. So, we'll do this. We'll get a definition of consent, and then we'll jump into that next topic regarding the verbal and so on. So, boom, consent. You on?
I'm on.
What is consent?
Consent means to permit, approve, or agree, comply, or yield, often followed by, to, or an infinitive? That's do you want I need to hear the answer to this question. How many people we got on? That was a lot more people.
Well, yeah, it's been up and down. It's about 10 now that's watching.
But
So
I'm interested in the consent.
so everybody that's watching, everybody that's watching, we want to know, what is your definition of consent? You watching, that means you can type. Even if you're at work, you can still type and respond. I want to see these comments come across in regards to what your definition of consent is. I mean, of course, oh, wow.
Damn.
Yo.
Blackout, you all said when I can stick it in your mouth and you get promoted.
Oh
No, he's joking though. Everybody knows that. That knows him. But I mean, I guess we can start first. So, DJ, what's your definition of consent?
I mean, consent is, it is what it is. It's either you agree or you do not agree. What we're probably going to end up debating is at what point can you agree or not agree to sexual activity. While everybody's sober, that's a fun game to play. But then we have to start adding in outside factors like when people say, I felt intimidated, so I said, okay. I had a few drinks, so I said, okay. And sometimes that may or may not be true, but people have a tendency to go back and change their minds and give excuses to absolve themselves of the behaviors that they had. How many of your ugly friends has gone to the club, been drinking with a cute girl, and then after the fact, she was like, that wasn't supposed to happen. I was just drunk. Nobody made you screw the dude with the face like a Gila monster. Like, nobody made you do that. You just chose to drink. He was drunk. Ain't nobody take advantage of you. Y'all took advantage of one another. So those are the types of things that we're going to have to kind of try to narrow down. But consent in its purest form is yes or no. But if we use the Aziz Ansari definition, that's not the case, because she definitely said yes repeatedly, and then she changed her mind and said no. So maybe I just don't understand what a consent is.
All right. So I got a comment here. Brandon Johnson states, nowadays, it might just have to be an NDA just to make sure everyone is safe. Most people won't do it. That was actually going to be something else we was going to discuss, but I'm glad you said that. And then Thelonious stated, can consent ever be nonverbal? Depends on who you're talking to and what happens if they like it or don't like it afterward. You might be in some trouble, and depending on who you're messing with. Again, I don't know why. Nakosha, yours not popping up for some reason. Maybe I know I see it on my phone, but I don't see it on here because you're so vulgar with it here. She said, "I'm telling you to come get this pussy." That means she's with it.
Definitely yes.
Hey, that's a definite yes, clearly. Then my big bro, Rich came back and said, I think we can give the definition, but if she changes her mind, it changes the rule. True, because then therefore, if she changes her mind after she gave consent, is now rape if you continue, because now it's forced. So, but yeah, that's true. I ain't got no other comments yet. So Queen, boom, you up?
Everything BJ said, yes or no. And to answer the question as far as can consent ever be nonverbal, yes. I don't ever recall necessarily being asked for my vajayjay.
Oh, now you want to be politically correct and speak nice.
After ball
earlier.
Necessarily been asked. Like, we're not children. You know, when you want something to happen, this is an act. Sex is an act. We don't have to sit here and do the whole "do you like me?" circle yes or no thing.
I need to. I go to jail if you don't. Like, look, I got this written down.
Either way, consent can definitely be non-verbal. But again, like Richard said, if somebody changes their mind, somebody says, no, you know what? I'm going to pop your balls out of my mouth. I need to talk to you. This is this is something.
What? Wait, how did she say no with balls in her mouth? That's amazing. Did she hum while she was doing it? I said, look.
Hey, that lady got talent.
Look, I didn't hear you. I can't hear what you're saying.
If she wants to change her mind, whether it be, and we've heard this from women, I don't care if the dick is in my mouth, in my ear, in my nose, in my butt. If I say no, that's a no. So she may have consented at first, but now going forward, maybe this is uncomfortable for me. I started hurting.
It should be. It's in your ear, in your nose.
If no longer consents, then that's when it gets tricky, because you have to stop. And if you don't stop because you're like, wait, I'm just 30 seconds away from, exploding, then you can be accused of rape or sexual assault. So you definitely have to be clear. But once we get to the other question, because that's what I want to know. Because I'm okay with consenting, with the written consent or verbal consent, whatever, because you just don't know. You just really don't know anymore, because it should be as simple as yes or no. You either are or you're not. And if you're not, then your actions, your nonverbal cues will coincide with what it is that you're saying. If you're saying no, that means no. You can't say no with with balls in your face. So,
you mean they shouldn't say no? Is that what you're saying?
No, they should not say. You can't, if your actions do not go with what it is that you're saying. It can be quite confusing, because you're saying no, meanwhile you're going down on this person, and you're like, no, I don't want to do this. No, let's just stop doing this. You need to figure out what it is that you need to do, and at that point, any man should be, okay, just tell me when to go, and until you tell me that, I'm not going to move forward, because you're compromising yourself as a man by even doing that. No means no. Power to the people.
Definitely true. And I don't really need to discuss too much in regards to consent, because I think we basically covered that. I'm just checking the time. We got about 13 minutes. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to consent, I mean, granted, like you said, it should be upfront. As the question came, can there be nonverbal? Bad thing about nonverbal, it might be one person might think the other person is willing and wanting to, because they sitting here answering the door naked, or they want to lay down and cuddle naked, or they want to cook naked, or they want to do something else naked, or they, touch your junk multiple times or rub their booty on you, that they ready to go. But then they might quickly say, well, that didn't mean I wanted to have sex, or that doesn't mean I'm interested in you. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like you have to know a little bit more. I mean, of course, I'm a man, and I'm sure every man that did it, they tried to, keep going as far as they can go until she either says stop. So the day when you just try to put the tip in and see if she's gonna stop you. Maybe that was just me. DJ, you know it was you too. Come on, just admit it, man. You younger than me, man. You did it. You did it multiple times. You might have just did it yesterday.
First off, I did no such thing. But first off, that line is a classic. We've all used it because someone taught us to use it. That's
true.
We not gonna pretend like we ain't never got a good side hump in, because we just a quick.
Yeah.
If we just,
yeah, you gotta try your best to just slide it on in and hope, and you think it's it. It might not be it, but if it comes down to it, you really have to know. Because nowadays, with all the allegations and all the issues and so on and so forth, I mean, me thinking that you're ready to go because of how your body language is to me and how I'm, receiving your body language could be totally different than what you are thinking in your own mind. You could just be basically trying to tease me, and that just be all it is. And now you mad because I'm sitting here rock hard. I'm like, oh boy, just poking you on the backside, trying to see when I can get some. And then now you mad at me because I thought that you wanted to have sex.
I'm a call.
And let's be real, most times, if you go back to a dude's crib and y'all ain't known each other that long, you probably want to do something, because y'all could have continued y'all date outside in the public area. You don't go back and do Netflix and chill, because I think she even said they went back to watch Netflix or something, if I remember correctly in her statement.
Yeah.
And clearly that's a going phrase, Netflix and chill, and we all know what Netflix means. So, don't put yourself in a situation. If you're not trying to have sex, keep your clothes on, dress like a nun. I don't want to see no booty cracks, no cleavage. Heck, if you thick, wear a sheet over my house if we can't do nothing. And I'm talking about a big sheet.
Because I go
to
the house does not mean that I am ready to have sex.
Listen, I'm just gonna let you know you're on a very slippery slope when we start saying stuff like you can't wear certain clothes if you come over here. Like, you're gonna be public enemy number one.
Hey, I'm married, so I can say that now. I'm just saying, but I'm not being like, I'm kind of joking, but I'm just saying, like, when it comes to certain things, women know that they'll dress a certain way to get attention.
Absolutely.
That's evident. They dress a certain way to get attention. That's a whole nother topic and show that we can discuss all that when it comes to dressing. But we don't get off the consent portion and just jump to the next thing, which is, wait, anybody else had nothing else to say, right, before I jump over? I didn't even ask.
Nicole,
I'm good.
My sister did.
Oh, dang. See, I don't know why she's not popping up on here. I feel like, I don't know what happened. Okay, she did say women need to quit putting themselves in uncomfortable situations as well. Don't be somewhere laid up naked with a man you supposedly don't want to, I'm not using that word, the F word, and when you come thinking you want to smash. There you go.
Agreed. Keep your clothes on and your coochie closed.
Coochie closed? Oh, it closes?
You got to close it.
You mean your legs closed?
Legs, coochie, it's all the same.
Yes, it's not. Not the same thing. Yes, it is not. There's a very big difference between legs and coochie. I just wanted you to know that me and my penis both know the difference. And we're not going to let you lie to us like that. We are not going to let you lie to us like that. No, ma'am. We're not going to let that happen.
All right, so we're going to jump to that next thing. So would you be willing to offer for men and for women / sign a written or verbal consent in regards to sex? Like before doing the do, would you be willing to protect the gentleman by signing a consent form or verbally verbally giving consent to this gentleman? So if anything ever went down in the future, he had you stating you gave consent. Now, Queen, I know this is your question, and for a lot of y'all, because I see a lot of y'all responded, and this is a call out. I'm sitting here.
That don't count because there's a such thing as spousal rape. Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay. Yeah, I was sitting there like, yes, it's hard. I do. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm with you. I am with you. And I say this, even though a lot of people won't believe it, when people get married in the church in front of the Lord and say the Lord and so on and so forth, and it's in the Bible and they quote, y'all supposed to have sex unless both of y'all agree that it ain't supposed to go down. So in my opinion, and in most people's opinion, once you say I do, there shouldn't be no more I don't unless y'all agree that y'all don't. Hey, call me wrong. I don't care. My wife knows how I feel about it. We've talked about that many times. I feel like you should never say no unless it is something seriously wrong. And if there ain't nothing seriously wrong, and if you can't do it down there, your mouth always works. Because if you're talking, your mouth works. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. Hey, I'm being honest. I'm married. I'm just saying. I've been married 8 years. Just being honest.
Okay.
Keep it fresh. Keep it
Oh
going.
man.
Keep your marriage happy. Keep your
And
marriage happy.
the question, would you offer, if you were not married, would you be comfortable offering a young lady a consent form to sign, or asking her to?
Yeah. I mean, for me, yeah, I wouldn't have, with all the issues that's going on right now, I wouldn't have a problem with asking somebody or doing a video consent, because we might be on video anyway when I was single. So you can just say you consent, and then we can go ahead and have we can go ahead and partake and have fun. Boom, we good. No problems. Now I got video evidence that there was no issues, and we good.
Oh my
And
God.
you asked me a question, I answered. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So, BJ,
Mm-hmm.
are you comfortable offering?
Listen, I am all about these penis permission slips. Okay. You're not gonna be outraged after saying ball jiggling. Yo, you didn't play your card. You didn't put penises in ears and nostrils, but I can't say penis permission slip. You confuse vaginas and legs, but I can't say penis permission slip.
Okay.
Let me finish. Don't do me like that.
All
so
right.
It's entertaining to call it a penis permission slip.
Okay.
But listen, if I have to stop everything that I'm doing to ask you it's okay for me to do X, Y, and Z, it should not be outrageous for me to then ask you to do X, Y, and Z so that everybody's clear about what's happening and we don't have a miscommunication moving forward. If you are offended by that, that's fine. I'm offended by the fact that you won't sign this permission slip, and I'll keep my penis to myself and find somebody who's willing to sign said permission slip. I mean, well, we need to have a conversation, or we need to have like legit. And listen, ain't nobody as stupid. Men are nearly as stupid as we pretend to be to get the stuff that we want to get done. Every man knows if he can get you in a text message. So you gonna come over tonight? You gonna let me enjoy you tonight? Like, ain't nobody. We're not saying that because we don't think we can get some action tonight. We're saying that so we're covered. Because there was a time where you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to send that text message. Hey, you gonna come over about 7:30? All right, cool. That's the end of that conversation. You know what it is when you get here. But we're very aware of the things that we say, how we say them, and what your responses may be, because we need to protect ourselves. If you have to protect yourself by not coming to spend the night at some man's house, or by making sure that you're in a lit public environment, that's fine. You do what you got to do. Me and this penis permission slip, we rolling together. There's an app for that. I got my phone, the same one that I text you on. You gonna sign this permission slip, or you gonna get this Uber action. Kick rocks.
Silly.
Okay.
Listen,
silly.
Don't judge me, okay? Let me do me.
You about your penis permission slips, okay?
That is funny. I'll make these comments real quick before you go, Queen, because clearly this is your question. All right, so Richard stated, when we get married, the female stop reading the Bible. Thelonious states, Bradford needs to get married so he can travel with us married folks.
Yeah, nope. I'm not going to get married for any reason other than I think she is the most amazing woman walking this planet, and I can't imagine spending the rest of my life without her. Anything, I'm not trying to join the club. I don't feel like I'm incomplete because I don't have a wife. And until I have a wife that's volunteering 24/7, me and my penis permission slips going to be all right doing what we do.
Damn, Burger 24/7? Dang, bro. Hey.
It's an app, baby. My phone with me. I'm out here. It's the technology age, bro.
Oh,
we out here. It's called Consency. Look it up, fam. It's a thing. I'll bet you one. I will pull it up for you. It's a real thing. Y'all continue the conversation. Stand by.
Are you serious? This is a real app?
He said it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess somebody thought about that, huh?
See,
make sure that
out here in these streets.
Wow. Okay.
Actually, there are several. No. There's not one. There's several. There's we consent. There's yes to sex. There's consent or more. Yeah. And consency. Oh yeah, it's a thing.
Okay.
We not playing no games out here. I want your thumbprint. Put it right there. Boop, like Apple Pay.
Actually, you forgot the main one. It's called Tinder.
You said
Yo, you wildin'. You wildin'. Don't do that. Don't do that. Listen,
Hey,
that is a great way to meet nice people. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that.
No,
You're not gonna do that.
Hey, look, I've never been on there, but I've heard stories. Just saying.
You lying. You was on the party line back in the day, though, talking to girls with nice voices and a face like, and a beard just like yours.
See, back in the day, man, I was on, it's going to age me. I was on Black Planet, and way back in the day, I was on those Yahoo chats, was what I was doing way back in the day, man. That's what I was doing. That's just aging me a little bit. I'm not that old, but that's what I was doing.
Oh, God.
Listen, we got to put Thelonious on punishment, okay? I don't know if y'all seen this comment or not, but he's not going to be able to make no more comments till he grow an afro, and that day ain't never going to come for him.
Wait, you talking about this next one I was about to read, where he takes no, because now she has written proof that something did happen. She can turn on you. Talking about that, or do I need to keep scrolling?
I'd like you to go to where he says his wife wears purple shorts and undies when it's going to be a great night. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
I didn't see
well, that might have been directly to you, brother. That ain't on our post.
I don't like it. It might have been directly to me.
Yeah. Well, now you done told the world.
It's on my post. The whole world can see my page.
Oh, okay.
It's a comment. Everybody can see that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, hey, at least you know. That's a good thing. At least you know. I mean, everybody, if they're married, they know, when you gonna get some, however it's presented. I mean, that's evident. I'm just saying, I believe that at that. But
regimented vagina getting self up out of here.
Can we get back to the question?
No, because he out here treating vagina like a one-a-day vitamin. He don't need. I take it at 6:32 every morning.
Hey, Toya, who you judging? Who you judging? We need to know who you judging.
Oh my God.
Oh, she judging me.
Okay.
He's my friend with the judgment.
Oh my God.
All right. Kevin Hargrave states, well, all I can say is my family loves Kitty.
That's also my cousin.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay, what we talking about?
Oh, my bad. I actually showed it again. I apologize. Okay. Go ahead, Queen. Your own comment. You asked the question. So would you sign a consent in your single days? Would you be signing a consent or giving or a verbal consent to your video?
I would be okay with that because I understand how severe it is now with all these rape allegations and everything going on, and this whole Me Too movement that really pushes women to saying, you know what, I'm gonna come up. I was raped, especially if he's like an A-list celebrity or maybe a B-list celebrity. So I will personally be okay with it. I understand it. We sign consents for everything else, but according to some of my acquaintances, that's not the same. Giving consent to someone to have sex with you and giving consent at, let's say, a doctor's office or any place else that we sign consent is not the same. And my sister said something, you didn't read her comment, but she said that she wouldn't because she should not be having sex with someone that she doesn't know or trust. And I don't think this is a know and trust thing. It's not just, rapes don't just happen or assaults don't just happen on first dates. It can be someone that you've known, that you've talked to, that you've dated for some time. And when it comes to that point where we're having sex, I don't think this is necessarily about a trust thing, because I don't know the statistics, but there are plenty of rapes that actually happen by people that were trusted. Maybe whoever it is, you trust that person, and that's why you probably put yourself in that area with that person where intimacy can possibly take place, the kill zone. But
you in the kill zone.
You have to do it about it because that's very important. Because women, and when we have our roundtables here in my house, and I've said that before, women are very uneducated about the kill zone. And that's why we walk our ass into situations where it's like, oh, it's real nice and comfortable in here. You got candles and you got it's real nice. And he like, yeah, go ahead and lay down. Lay down. Let yourself be comfortable. Why don't you take off your clothes while you're at it? And we're thinking that it's supposed to be something just very, you need to know when you walking your ass into the kill zone because you could possibly be a target, and you need to know, and you should be able to. If you don't want to be there, don't be there. But in the event that you get there, and you need to walk your way on out of there. But to answer the question, yes, I completely.
What?
I would be
completely okay
to these comments.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I would be completely okay with signing a consent or recording a verbal consent stating that I am consenting this sexual experience. Others have also said, women have said, what if you sign this consent and you start jiggling balls and then you change your mind in the middle?
Somebody please take her Yin Yang records.
I'm just saying. No, but when I said that, I'm not gonna sign the consent, and we're so like really angry about this. Apparently, the women that I've communicated with, if I sign the consent and then I change my mind, now he has this written consent. No, you can specify things in this written consent about what should happen and what shouldn't happen and possibly what did. Whatever the case may be, there are ways to protect yourself and the other party. All we're thinking about is ourselves. And like DJ said, you afraid. I'm scared.
These comments are cracking me up.
Tell your brother to stop. We're serious. Tell brother to stop. That's enough.
I'm gonna let you finish, and I'm gonna start answering some of these comments.
Yeah, I'm gonna post this for you, definitely.
Yeah. To answer the question, yes, I would be willing to sign or give verbal consent.
All right. So first question for you, BJ, since clearly these are all for you, since you are you have the penis app and
I can't.
First off, you're not gonna call it a penis app. You're not gonna download this dingling for your own personal pleasure. That's not how this works. We're not doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You call it a penis consent form?
No, it's a penis permission slip.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we got to call it what it is, bro.
Okay. So Scott asked, on those apps you use, BJ, how long is the consent guaranteed for?
Until she says no. It's just covering you to say that initially she was down. Because that's the truth of the matter. Like, if at any point she says no, I don't know what kind of person you are, but I don't want nothing that she don't want to give me. That's just who I am as a person. So once it's over, you know what I'm saying? Once she say no, I guess you failed the test. You can pull out and ride out, homie. Ain't nobody got nothing there for you. Next.
All right. Kevin Hargrave states it's impossible to know. And I'm assuming that comment was in regards to your claim. You said, well, maybe so. I thought it was possibly in regards to yours, meaning, hold on, let me see. Scroll a little bit more because he got another comment. Okay. So he says, because as soon as you think he only wants to hit it, then he really likes you. Okay, so that answered the question. So yeah, it was in response to what you were stating, in regards to the kill zone and all that matter. Let's see. Then my brother states here, of course, it's back to you, BJ. Is the permission slip like going on a field trip? And they put LOL, of course.
Oh, I can answer that, bro. You can laugh all you want, but I got answers. I'm that guy. So listen, the penis permission slip is exactly what it sounds like. Your mama signed a permission slip for you to go to Great America when you was a child. You signed it for that lady to get on a roller coaster ride tonight. It might be short, it might be long, but it's gonna be happening tonight. You gonna get what I'm giving after you sign this here permission slip, all right? Don't judge me. For those of you not from the Chicagoland area, Six Flags.
Right. Stupid.
Oh my God.
Kevin did ask a question here. He said, "How about we make a consent, or not a question? He made a statement. How about we make a consent to not fall in love when you only have a side piece?"
Listen, if you're gonna get yourself in that kind of trouble, first off, let's not make this a side piece conversation. It's a dangerous conversation to have. If you having this question, you already are getting accused of having a side piece. You're worried about the wrong stuff right now, young man. Okay? You focused on all the wrong stuff. All right. We don't want to talk about side pieces. We want side pieces to be what they used to be. Invisible and silent. Okay. You're making them real things. We want them to be figments of women's imaginations. Side pieces. We trying to have. Oh, y'all gonna let?
We will not talk about side pieces. This is not a side piece conversation.
All I'm saying is, if you're gonna have a side piece, she need to be like the chick off Fences. The only way you know she exists is because she died.
Oh my
And
God.
the baby gotta go.
Wow.
It's not.
Wow.
I'm just saying, the only reason she knew about the side chick is because the baby had to come home. My man, don't make no babies. She can stay gone. She out here like Casper.
I can't.
Comment. You keep our comment.
We got another comment. Andrew Holdner states consent is only given until either party changes their mind. That could be indefinitely or a one-time basis, which is true. All right. Well, my cell phone just died, so if anybody says something that I missed, I apologize. Queen, you might have to pick it up. And then I just got a comment. Kane stated, "What did I just click on?"
The truth. We out here talking about these penis permission slips, sexual assault, sexual harassment, and all of the stuff that comes along with it, and how men need to protect themselves just as well as females need to protect themselves. And penis permission slips, although it's a funny phrase, is a great way to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's never going to be any ambiguity when you didn't put your driver's license number in your thumbprint and your signature in my iPhone so that you can't go back and say something happened that you ain't want.
Because you got the
I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, it's fun, but I mean, it is what it is.
It's a shame we don't have to talk about this though. These permission slips and consent forms and all of this, but the fact of the matter is, it is happening, and you men need to protect yourselves, and you need to stop using what? Use
penis permission slip. Boom.
All right, I'm gonna knock out these last few comments. I think I got. Okay, yeah, I got one more, and then my brother just put LOL. Andrew again states, in brief, not having them sign it. Not sure if you're saying if you're in briefs, you're not having them sign it, or are you saying meaning like briefly? I'm not sure. Anybody else? No. Catch that?
Oh no, but he can text me the answer later.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, my fault. Popped out there again. So this will conclude our show tonight. Definitely appreciate you, BJ. It has been a pleasure. We'll have to definitely do it again. Hopefully, for everybody that did listen, I mean, yes, this is a very serious topic, but we're always going to try to have some kind of fun in regards to the matter. But I mean, clearly, it is a serious matter when it comes to rape, but it's just as serious of a matter when it comes to false accusations. And we all feel personally that those should come to light just as rape. So with that being said, we're going to be out. Appreciate you watching. Share it if you like to your friends. Tell them we own every Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, and whatever time is Pacific. What's that? 5. There you go. I ain't think about that beforehand. So appreciate all the comments. Once this is all, even if you watch it later, you can continue to comment on it. We will still see it. If you ever want to come on the show, clearly we got B on here as a guest. Me and Queen are the regulars, but we do take guests on. And if you have any specific topics you want us to discuss, hit one of us up. Let us know. Clearly all y'all fall with one of us. That's how y'all on here watching it. So hit us up with some kind of topics. We're not afraid to talk about anything. Just being 100.
Penis
Not afraid. And for all y'all single out there that's having sex,
Say a ball,
get on these apps that he's talking about with your opinions permission slip to keep yourself protected. The condoms ain't gonna do it for you, Jess. Get your opinions permission slip and get it signed and the thumbprint and whatever else you need
driver's license
before you participate. And when she say no,
no means
make sure to stop. No matter if you mid hump, full hump, wherever you at, just stop. And if you close, pull out slow. It might help you release. I'm kidding. Y'all have a good night. Holla.
Hey, that was fun, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. I think we still recording now. Hold on.
Yep, still says live.
Yep, it's still on there. It takes a little while to go off. It does. Okay, here